A little free plug for Wisp, by the way. They're big fans of that. But these are great. They're the yellow handled pear. They're a straight edge cut. You can also get them in red and green, but that's a right and a left cut, so don't confuse it. Make sure you get the yellow handled pear for a straight cut. This pretty much cuts through the metal like butter, and you just want to line it up with your score line, and one cut will be the first edge. Go ahead and peel that out of the way a little bit, flip it around on the back side. You don't have to be exact. Caulking always makes up for the difference, but try to make the best cut you can, and she's good to go. We've measured the openings, we've cut our metal to size, and we've prepped it with weather strip foam. So now we're ready to install the header piece angle. One thing I want to show you real quick is that we're going to be doing what we call a square butt installation of the framing. Reason being is that we want to offset the seam of the metal grid to the actual mitered corners of the climate seal window. But if you really want a nice finished look, you can go ahead and miter the metal angle as well. It's really actual preference. So we're ready to install the header piece. What we're going to be doing is installing we're going to be installing fasteners about 3 inches in from each end, 18 inches down, another one in the center, another 18 inches down, and 3 inches from the end. So this actual 6-foot piece is going to have 5 screws in it. For today's sake, we've actually pre-drilled the hole for the center piece, and we're going to go ahead and install that. We're using a number 6 3/4 self-tapping pan head. You can either use a hole punch. Sometimes a screw will self-tap right through the metal pretty easily, but you can also use an 1/8 inch drill bit to get things started easier. This is a number 2 Phillips head, and we're just going to go ahead. Don't strip the threads, it's harder to take out, but that's it. We're going to go ahead and do it for the rest and begin putting in the side pieces. The header piece has been installed. We put 5 screws in, that's all we needed. Then we go ahead and we put in the sill piece on this one as well. There's 2 different types of bottom rails. One is the magnet window system, which is what the other 3 sides are, but we also have the pad bottom as well. Because we're going with a 4-sided magnet configuration on our climate seal, we've obviously needed to install a metal angle channel along the sill. It's time to put in our verticals now. What we're doing is a rough cut at this point. To get our finish cut, you cut it 1 inch longer than is actually necessary to then score the line to get your finish cut. So we're going to line it up on the sill, rest it up against the bottom. Now we've got the exact place that we need, and I like to use a utility knife blade rather than a carpenter's pencil or pen because it gets a more finished cut. We just line it up, a couple quick scores, go ahead and cut it, and we'll install that as well. The frame's been fully installed on all 4 sides. We've got a little bit of daylight up in here, so what we want to do is to use a good window door quality caulking. GE makes a pretty good one, and also DAP 50 year. Make sure you get the long lasting. Odorless, paintable, and make sure you get the acrylic latex. So I'm just putting a little bit on my finger actually and applying it from the back side. Because we have the weather strip foam prepped on the metal angle, we don't have to worry about any air infiltration along the jamb seam. So just a little bit of bead on your finger, just go ahead and apply it from the back side and push it through the hole until it comes through. Just take your cloth and we're just going to wipe it clean to the front side. Nice and clean, simple, and done. The window's fully framed. We've caulked the seams. Now we're ready to put in the climate seal. It's my assistant Wade. He's going to help put up the panel. It's a little wide for one person. So what we're doing, you can see this blue film on here. Every climate seal comes with a protective film during shipping. It helps to protect against any damage that could happen during transit. So this film's going to stay on just for the dry fit run. What you want to make sure is that it's going to fit right before you take off the film and polish it for an installation, should you need to make any cutbacks or modifications. So we're going to go ahead and put this thing in. I'm going to set it in, always very important, we set it on the sill. We're going to line it up into place. You heard that snap in. Just go ahead and ride it in. Wade's putting in his end first. I'm going to put in my end. And she's in. Perfect. Airtight seal. And just to check to make sure that you've got the exact seal that you're looking for, go ahead and actually hear how airtight it is. With that flapping that we heard, it's a little bit of extra pressure, but she's in, she fits perfect. Now it's time to polish and install. The dry fit went in perfect. Now we're ready to polish and install the finished product. With the Climate Seal, the best way and the recommended usage for cleaners and cloths, and is sold with each item, is our Brilliant Ice Cleaner. It's a plastic cleaner, non-toxic, water-based. Only thing you want to be careful of, because it is water-based, is to not let it freeze. If it does, it kind of separates the cleaning properties and it's no longer usable. Brilliant Ice comes in 8-ounce spray bottles, 32-ounce trigger spray bottles, and also a gallon refill, so depending on the size of your project is what you're going to need. The other thing we recommend are a cotton non-abrasive cloth called the White Ball. It's a reusable cloth once you're done using and polishing with a non-toxic cleaner. Go ahead and let it air dry. You can put it back in a little storage bag or Ziploc bag and reuse them several times over. So we're going to go ahead and peel off the protective film. What's very important is that we're peeling off the exterior face first. So this blue protective film now comes off. One edge is already ready. You want to go ahead and peel it off. I've actually already applied the cleaner, and we want to give a good generous amount to cover the entire surface area of the acrylic. And I've actually got my assistant Wade here again, because of the size of this window, to polish it right. And this is a very important process. To make it look its very best and to be truly invisible, it's a 3-cloth process. And what I mean by that is, we're going to go ahead and spread the cleaning material over the surface area of the acrylic. That's the first cloth. The second cloth is going to be bringing the cleaning solution to a fine bead, and the third cloth is actually going to be drying to the touch. We want to make sure that we're drying and polishing with the cloth and it's not air drying, because it will leave a residue and you probably will see it in sunlight. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring this all the way around the edge. Once you've got the debris, as you can see this in debris, and that just happens with the static electricity. Okay, so once we got that debris up, we want to use a clean face cloth, a new side, and just go back and forth in linear motions. You don't want to buff it like a car. When you do that, if there's any debris, it can rub into the acrylic and you can get some scratching. So we just kind of go in linear motions back and forth, spreading the material. Now we're ready for the second cloth. The second cloth is not meant or intended to polish the window dry. Like I said, it's just to bring it to like a fine bead. Alright. So now we're ready for the third cloth, which is actually going to dry it, and we'll be ready to install it. We're actually going to do the interior face up in place. Makes it a lot easier. And what this Brilliant Ice is actually doing is treating the acrylic to help give it a finger-proof, residue-proof, and to help resist against scratching, and also eliminating the static electricity. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing up now.